Have you ever woke up in the middle of a dream and the dream was so interesting that you wanted to go back to sleep to see the end of it? If so, what was the dream? I learned I could fly, but I had to teach myself. Woke up right as I was gearing up for the big test to see how high I could go. Force myself back to sleep, and lem tell ya, flying in a dream is way too fucking fun. I was friends with Jesus in the modern day, and he was sound, not preachy. One of the lads was exploring a jungle with a group of, I assume, friends. We ended up discovering some kind of temple, but it was dark, so we decided to set up camp. I was charged with gathering dry wood and leaves for the fire. While macheting my way through vines, I heard my name being screamed by one of the group members in a terrified way, repeatedly. Woke up to see my mom yelling my name and to get the fuck up already. I never found out what that temple was. Edit. I have never watched any adventure movies like Indiana Jones or Jumanji, nor have I played any Uncharted game. This is going to sound crazy, but I had a dream exactly like that, and one of the people in the camp went missing. But it continued, and we found out there were jaguars in the area. I'm not joking about this at all. Same dream, and I've had it multiple times. We're exploring after finding the temple, I guess. It was always a very obviously ancient but important ruin that we had to explore. I get tasked with finding brush, or twigs or dry wood. I'm walking around, and I just hear the scariest shrill. I run and a man is there. He ties me to a barbecue/grill and asks me to pick a wall. I wake up. Edit. Almost every time I've had this dream I thought the scream was from my little sister, even though I show up and no one, except the man and the grill and some wolves are there. Edit. I like people's interpretations that these are all dreams that might relate back to more nomadic or caveman times. But pick a war? I still wonder all the time what that could mean. I used to have lucid dreams in my early to mid 20s. As soon as I'd realize I was asleep, I'd start flying, or just rising to the ceiling, because it was a cool way to test it. Then my immediate thought would be, who should I pretend sleep with? And the excitement over that possibility woke me up every damn time. I dreamt that I was part of some Eastern European resistance movement who had to speak in code and hide out in abandoned manors in the forest to plan our attacks against some fascist regime. We enlisted the Pope to help us, but when we went to meet him, he has double-crossed us because the regime we were fighting somehow knew the Pope was gay and was going to tell everyone. I woke up then, not knowing if my resistance group was executed or if we escaped somehow. I call it my gay Pope dream. A long time ago, I had a dream that there were ghosts living in my family's garage. Nowhere else, just the garage. I somehow became friends with one, but she was unable to speak to me, leave the property that the house was on, and wasn't able to show any facial expressions that wouldn't be considered terrifying. Me and my ghost friend were playing on the house porch and two guys were trying to break into the house. She tried to stop them by scaring the living heck out of them by making a terrifying face and screaming the most blood-curdling scream ever right in their faces. I wasn't able to see the face she made, but I somehow knew it was there, and all I could hear was the scream. The people trying to rob the house ran off, but instead of celebrating, I curled up and started crying because of how terrifying the scream was. I absolutely loved that ghost, and I forgot that her whole purpose was to scare people, but she did it to protect me and the house. I still cried though, and she tried to cheer me up the best way she could. Then I woke up. I knew that was a dream, but I didn't want to leave my ghost friend alone, knowing the last time she saw me was when she scared me to tears by accident. I tried to go back to sleep, and I did, and I somehow successfully re-entered the dream, only it was several years in the future. The garage still had a couple of ghosts in it, but not nearly as much, and the rest seemed to be oblivious to humans. I was going into the attic and found some pictures in there of me around the age I was friends with the ghost, and on a picture I saw a very faint image of her face standing next to me. I went down the attic and woke up. I didn't get to tell the ghost that I forgive her or anything, and I still feel some sort of emotional attachment to her. It was probably the best nightmare I've ever had, and one of the dreams I wanted to go back to the most, just so I can tell her that there are no hard feelings. Edit. Thanks for comments everyone. I was just procrastinating and scrolling through Reddit and saw this post and thought, oh yeah, that happened to me once. I was seriously not thinking much of it and wasn't expecting this many people to be interested in it. This has made my day. How many people have interest in this? Thanks. I have a story about when the opposite of this happened. It was a fucking epic fantasy dream, let me tell ya. Evil wizard of some sort that I'm pretty sure was my 8th grade math teacher kidnapped princess, a worthless but snappy sidekick that was my best friend. I roll. This dream had everything. So I beat the bad guy, rescued the princess, and brought her back to a village of, I think, Uoks or something, I dunno. Big celebration. Everybody went hooray and stuff, and then it didn't end. We just kinda stood there looking at each other. It felt like a long time. Uoks just kinda start milling around and doing their everyday shit. Made some small talk with the princess. And then eventually the dream ended and I woke up. It was a strange one. Edit. 2 words. This was like the 4th strangest dream I've ever had. I once dreamed that all of my family and closest friends were on the world's largest cruise ship. Along the way, we somehow were exposed to radioactive waste that gave us all superpowers or other mutations. I remember so vividly being able to use my mind to move objects with ease, and I threw donuts at my brother, whose skin had turned as hard as stone. This one girl on the cruise, that we all universally hated, for reasons I can't remember, received a really random and useless mutation. She grew a really fat lizard tail, like a leopard gecko who has eaten a lot lol. She was crying about how ugly she was now and all we could do was laugh. Then I woke up. I had one where I was wandering through my hometown for what felt like hours, and eventually the dream became lucid, and the dream dragged on, and I was just walking around looking at stuff. Eventually I started thinking that I'm probably late for school since the dream went on for so long, and I tried to figure out a way to get myself to wake up. I tried lying down on the ground and thought that people walking on me would probably do it, but it didn't. I didn't feel a thing. So I lied down in the middle of the road and a car hit me, and right before it hit me I woke up in the middle of the night. I had a nightmare a couple years back, and I still remember some bits. I was in a city where there was an outbreak of a disease. Infected people would start leaking black stuff from their eyes and noses and attack non-infected people. For some reason, I was walking in a part of the city that was completely deserted a couple days after the outbreak. Very faintly I heard someone crying. I approached and found out that it came from a backyard. If I wanted to see who it was, I had to climb a high fence. When I walked into the backyard I was fucking horrified. There was a crying little kid, like 3 years old on a leash, tied to a pole. I didn't dare to approach because that child was leaking Valk stuff from the nose. I woke up after this and was still horrified. The parents had to leave their child who was still alive, chained to a pole outside. That fucked me up for a couple of days. Right, so I in the dream got in a huge fight with these girls who aren't my friends anymore. I roll. It was late at night and outside the school, and one of them, who I just met and was super mean to me, I roll, ran off crying after I told her to stop being such a bitch and to go F herself. I'm feisty, but only if you mess with me first. I then go home and see on the news that she wasn't home and is missing. Because she's popular, everyone is looking for her. Word gets out that I was lost to see her and everyone hates me. I get death threats and shit. I then wake up Iral. I wanted to see how it would end, so I went back to sleep. I also go looking for her, but no one finds her. Weeks later police say that I'm not in any trouble since there's evidence that I didn't kill her or anything. Everyone at school though wants me dead. A week later, when I just can't take it, Shane Dawson, yeah, hi, welcome to my weird, but at the same time not weird dreams. It's like I'm doing a documentary on you. We then do an interview and I tell him my side and how much everyone hates me. A week later I kill myself in the dream, and Shane Dawson puts out the documentary the next day showing that I truly was innocent. Crazy freaking dream, man. The end of the world on a beach. I was getting ice cream for my family when suddenly the sun went purple, started spinning and fell behind the horizon. All the sky followed, replaced by darkness. Gravity broke, we went down, and couldn't move anymore. All the world around us started to flatten inexorably, slowly drifting towards the dark rift at the end. A voice started to call different names and people got sucked into the night. Suddenly it was my turn. I glided to the edge freaking out, and as I fell over the horizon, I realized I didn't have a body anymore. I was just a gaze traveling in space. It lasted a very long time. We passed all the beautiful planets and slowly left the solar system. Then we traveled across the galaxy and left it too. Somewhere far ahead, in the total darkness, faint lights started to appear. Stars and constellations I never saw before. I knew at this moment that they were waiting for us, and even if it takes forever, we will reach them. And once we do, all our questions will be answered. Finally we'll know what's out there and why we exist. We were getting closer and closer. Almost there. I could feel it won't be so long. And then my brain chose to wake up. I desperately thought no, not now. Just a moment more. But it was too late. The dream was gone. I was so pissed. Sometimes I think my own brain laughs at me.